Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hi, Zach. Good. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you nice and early. I like it.
I know. I try to be. Well, I'm not very good at that, but today, this is good.
Um, Good. No. So the meeting is next Tuesday for Beverwick?
Next Tuesday. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm trying to work with our library contact because they say they can host these, but I don't know. She's hard to get hold of. I sent her a note, so we'll see.
Hey.
I'll call her tomorrow and see.
I mean, I don't think I have anything going on next Tuesday, so I could certainly
Well,
host.
I'd rather get this on a regular schedule,
Yeah.
and develop that relationship. But it's been a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be. But we'll see.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll give it a chance. So we'll see.
There's Nancy Opizio. I think she's. Are you on, Nancy? I think she might be on.
Hey Zach, are you gonna do like I know sometimes in years past Howie would like updates from all the different clubs as far as what they're doing, as what's going on with them.
Like the neighborhood go around?
Yeah. I always find that very interesting.
Yes, we so the executive committee and I met actually last night. Actually, we met for about an hour and a half. It was a really great meeting talking about like the next 2 years and goals. And we talked about the neighborhood go around segment. That's
Okay.
always a big popular one. So
Right.
I know, you did last year. I think I did. Vince from Eagle Hill.
Right.
I think Colin McKnight did from Mansion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's always very interesting to see how people are approaching.
I did a podcast last night with actually, was it Monday night? Might have been Monday night with Cynthia Pooler. I think it was Monday night.
Uh-huh. Good.
You ever listen to her podcasts?
No, I haven't.
She's been doing them for years. She hit her 1,000th podcast. I think it was.
Wow.
It must have been before COVID. I think it was the December before COVID. So it must have been 2019. But yeah, she does. She's interviewed politicians. She's interviewed community activists, common council members. She's interviewed me numerous times.
Uh-huh. Good.
And so she interviewed me about becoming chair of Cana and talking about Cana.
Perfect. That'd be nice.
Great. It was great. And now, do you know much about Harold Rubin?
No, I do not.
So I spent an entire day going through the archives, the Cana archives at the Albany Institute of History and Art.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, there's actually stuff in it's so I thought that there was going to be 2 boxes of materials. I show up, there's 5 boxes of stuff. 2 boxes, there was 2 boxes that were categorized and organized, and then 3 boxes was like a document dump.
Right.
But somewhat organized. I think Harold was somewhat, he was pretty organized. But I think the way it was put together got a little. I don't know what happened between the time he gave it to him, but it's exciting. Reading through some of the old meeting minutes.
Oh yeah. Little scavenger hunt for you.
Well, what I did was I just started taking pictures with my tablet and my cell phone. And I got the meeting minutes. Right now, I think I have all of them except for 1996 to 1999. They're nowhere to be found.
Right.
But I'm still looking.
Good.
But so at the Albany Institute of History and Art, there's the Cana Archive, which is from 1976 to I think it's to 2002. But then Harold has another.
So why is that at the Albany Institute instead of? I would have thought the library.
Harold Rubin gave it to the institute for safekeeping.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then, but it gets better. So the science library up at the SUNY Albany, there is 5 more boxes of materials
Oh, great.
from 1958 to 2004.
Yeah.
And there's, from what I understand, there is some Cana stuff there too.
Okay.
So I'm going to go there and check it out.
I think so.
But let's see, Scott from the library is coming to the cooperative on the 21st.
Good.
Scott Jezrovnik.
Right. Right. Yeah, that'll be good. He's always interesting.
Yeah. I like Scott. We served together on the Public Education and Government Access Oversight Board for the city.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually, so you probably who have you been dealing with? Melanie at the library?
Melanie. Yep.
Okay. So she left the board and then Scott took over as the representative on the board from the library.
Okay. All right.
But I guess the library rolled back a bunch of their kind of reopening procedures.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. Curbside pickups, I think. Did you see the little book house that was in the corner of Van Buren and Lincoln got smashed? The glass door in the front. Somebody vandalized it. Yeah,
really?
Somebody smashed it in. Yeah, and then
Oh wow.
Yeah, the guy that lives in the house there, right there, Peter. He boarded it up and actually wrote on it that it had been.
Oh, actually, I did see that. Yeah. Yes, I did. Yeah, that I know. I don't understand that really, but I guess I was, when we set up ours a couple of years ago, and I was just, and Sam built ours, and it was just like, and I wasn't so sure, if this was going to work. Yeah, he built it with his own design and his own, it's leftover shingles from here, leftover roofing from here, leftover this and leftover that, a fence post from my aunt, a little scrap of plexiglass from my father. You know what I mean? It was just like assorted pieces because we didn't want to pay a couple $100 for the official kit one, But I wasn't so sure if it was going to work or not, So you put it on the post and it's heavy and it's big and it was wobbly. And my son happened to be home this weekend. He goes, "You got to cement it. You got to put cement in the hole." And I'm like, I don't want to cement it because I don't know if this is going to work. If people are going to be coming and stuffing Dunkin' Donuts cups in it or vandalizing it or whatever. I said, I don't want to put cement in it. And yet at the same time, it was wobbly. He's like, Mom, I am an engineer, a construction engineer. I know how to make things secure. You need to put cement in the hole.
That's funny.
Take it down. But we did. We cemented it, and sure enough, it was very secure. But we haven't had any problems with it too.
So nobody's had any issues with it over the years.
So unfortunately, that one.
I want to make sure my YouTube is on mute here because I think I'm hearing an echo. You hear me just fine, right, Michelle?
I do. Once in a while, you fade out a little bit, but you come right back. So it's fine.
I gotta just lean into the computer a little. I think my microphone isn't as sensitive as I want it to be. So let me just check real quick here. Oh, we can't minimize when you're recording. Okay, I'll forget it then. Okay, thought there was a little echo. So you're keeping an eye on what's going on in Washington?
Oh my goodness, how unproud I am to be an American today. This sounds like something that should be happening in some third world African nation. I'm like, what is going on? It's just saddening, to see that things get out of control.
I actually saw my dad earlier and he was in shock.
Yeah, it's just not, it's disheartening, no doubt.
Is that your TV?
It's probably our TV.
Okay. Yeah, let me turn mine down real quick.
Yeah, I can, here, let me turn, we can turn ours down a bit too. Now, can you turn it down?
Hey, Michelle, I'll be right back, okay? I gotta go
Yep.
grab a couple things.
Okay, bye.
see here. Hey, Glenisa, how are you?
Hey there, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Happy 2021. What a start, huh?
What a day. What a day.
I left work early to go run an errand for my dad, and I called him from the car because I didn't know what was going on. He's like, "Do you know what's going on?" No. I got to my parents' house and I was shocked.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I have a helper. He's fine.
Hi, who's that little guy?
Say hi, Louie. Say hi,
Louie. Hi, Louie.
Say
So,
hi.
Glenisa, I thought you probably need help taking the attendance tonight. You probably don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be my first time.
I started already.
Okay. Yeah, because I think what would help me, because what I'm doing is I took your agenda and I put it on a Word document and we'll follow along with that as I take notes. So that's gonna help. But do you have a list of the board members at the very least?
The board members for Cana.
Yeah.
So if you go to google.com and you Google Cana Albany, that brings
Okay.
you to our Google group. And then you click on, I think it's the first like hyperlink towards the top of the page. It says like for more information, click here. And then you click there, and I think it takes you to that landing page, which has the executive committee members.
Got it. Okay.
And then I think there's a link below that, which may say like members 2020. I think there's a link to a members 2020,
I
which has
see
a
bylaws, Cana members 2020. Yes.
yeah. So that has a lot of our members too. So that good call. So you can cross check that too once you get used to who the folks are for the group. I know we have Superintendent Adams.
I know her. She's my sorority sister.
No kidding.
Yep.
No kidding, really. What sorority were you in? I pledged Kappa Sigma.
Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Okay. Kappa Sigma. Yep. I still remember my Greek alphabet.
Yeah. Whenever somebody messes it up, I'm like, ooh.
I remember they lit a match and they said you had to say the alphabet as many times as you could. And I think I got to 3 sets before the match went out.
There you go. There you go.
That was a hoot, though. Pledging. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely. All right. I'm trying to and not let it be a table. Doesn't want me to be great. That's okay. That's okay. I'll figure it out.
So now you went on a nice trip not too long ago, right?
Yeah, it was back in November. I celebrated a friend's birthday. We went to Mexico for a week. And then before that, I was in DR and then I went to Mexico earlier. So yeah, I'm sitting down for a little while because what's happening with COVID, it's too much. And I find that and people aren't being as diligent as I would love for them to be, if that helps.
And plus that UK strain making its way over here.
Right. It's literally up the street from us. So
Broadway, the main drag.
yeah. Let me see who's on. So we have you, have me.
Yep, we have Michelle Siratinsky. She's with Beverwick.
So do I need to put what area they are a member of?
Yes. So, but tonight what I'm doing tonight is I'm gonna keep track too, and then I'll send you what I put down, and you can kind of.
What area are you? You're gonna have to just tell me because
I'm Upper Washington Avenue, and you're Arbor Hill, right?
yes, I am.
Arbor Hill. Yep. And then Michelle Siratinsky is Beverwick. And then Nancy Opizio, I think she's from Bern, up in the Hilltowns.
All right, give me 1 second. I need to spell Siratinsky correctly. SYROTYNSKI. She's Beverwick.
You got that right. Yay.
Yay.
It's a toughie.
Oh, I am not offended when people get it wrong because I've seen that too many times. I've gotten way over that.
Got it. I appreciate that. Thank you for the great. And Nancy Opizio, what area is she with?
I believe Bern. I don't know if she has a microphone. I think she's watching, but I think she's from up in Bern, New York.
So Bern, New York. Okay. And then we have someone on named Karen.
Hi, Karen. Not sure which Karen it is. Hi, Karen. And we have Jack Flynn.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Which Karen is this?
Karen Kniff.
Oh, hey, Karen. Hi, how are you?
Karen,
very
spell
well.
your last name for me, please.
Pardon me?
Spell your last name, please.
Cunniff.
And what area are you with, if you don't mind?
I'm from Iowa.
Joanna?
Upper Washington Ave.
Oh, I did not know it was called that.
Oh,
Joanna.
you want to be my neighbor?
Actually, Karen, there's a lot of houses for sale in our neighborhood.
Are they? I got one. I don't need any more.
Oh, one was, I think one was the corner of Danker and Lincoln, but that one sold, I think.
Danker and Lincoln. Yes, it did. It's a beautiful house.
That's a really nice house.
Yeah, it's a beautiful house.
That Cape Cod, that brick one down the way from you sell?
Yeah, I think the houses that were for sale on my end of the street have all been sold. I was really pleased.
Great. Okay, we got some more folks joining us. We're just taking attendance. Welcome everybody to the Cana meeting tonight. Ford McLean. Hi, sir. How are you?
Good, and congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. Which neighborhood do you belong to, Ford?
I belong to Hudson Park.
The Park neighborhood. And we have Richard Olivier.
Yes.
Alleviate for me.
Oh, I love the pictures.
Hi, Richard. It's Olivier.
Yeah, Olivier or Richard is fine.
Richard, welcome to the meeting. Which neighborhood do you live in?
I live on Hudson Street, a membership Hudson Park.
Okay.
Center Square, yeah.
Great. And we have Ron Lesko with the Albany City School District. Hi, Ron.
Hey, how's everybody tonight?
Good, Ron. Hey, Ron, which neighborhood do you live in?
Helberg.
Helderberg. Okay. You keeping up, Glenisa?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, good. I'm not going to keep going then.
No, let me know who's here, and then that way I can. If you tell me who it is, I'll write it down.
How you doing, Zach?
Good, Jack. What's going on?
No, I'm just on the police collaborative meeting also. I'm just watching that while we're doing that. You know, the one that Danielle Hilly's running. She's doing a good
Okay.
job.
Yeah. Good. Very nice.
Jack, what neighborhood are you with? I have you down, but I just need to know.
I'm in Buckingham.
Buckingham. Okay. Thank you so much.
Hey, Ron, were you going to send me a slideshow or something, or are they going to do it on their end?
Actually, either I or the superintendent will drive. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. And I apologize for missing your response this morning.
So they just need me to share screen with them today?
Yes, I think is the answer to that. I'm not as familiar with Zoom as I am with Google Meet or Microsoft Teams. I think they're mostly the same.
Very good.
I would just share screen and then go from there.
Yep. Okay. We have Pat Maxon. Hi, Pat. She's with Upper Washington Avenue.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you, Pat, for joining us. We have Lisa. Not sure which Lisa this is. Hi, Lisa. We have Dan Van Riper with Lincoln Park.
Hi, Dan. Long time no see.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Pat?
Not bad. You know, after a day like this, seeing all of you just doing normal business is very refreshing. Thank you.
I guess this is normal.
Hey, Ron. Is that Lisa Angerman from the school district?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay,
No,
no, she was on
it's
there.
Lisa from Melrose.
Oh,
Oh, there you
Lisa's last name, please.
Ben Ware.
Ben Ware. Okay. And then we have Holly Katz.
Lisa, can you spell your last name for me, please?
And Ware.
Say that one more time. You went out on me a little bit.
Benware.
Correct. Thank you.
And from
Sure,
Melrose.
From Melrose. And then we have Holly Katz. Katz.
Got her.
And Holly, you're from Mansion.
Mansion.
We have Kelly Hausler. Housler. She's from Beverwick.
Okay.
John
Oh, we have
O'Grady.
John O'Grady with West End.
Got it.
Good job. Great. Okay, we have Hillary Papineau, Hilary. Hi, Hillary. Papineau from Helderberg.
Got it.
Got the board covered so far here. Okay, we'll just give it a couple more minutes, folks, for folks to come in. Let's see. Hey, Vince, how are you?
Good.
Hey, Vince.
Hi, guys. Jack,
How you doing, Vince?
good to see everybody.
That's Vince.
Yes.
We're taking attendance, Vince. Ragoso from RIG OSU Eagle Hill.
Got it.
Hi, Zach. Hi, everybody. This is Kelly Hausler. Just want to say I'm on mute since I'm driving, but I want to be listening in.
Hey, thanks, Kelly. Got Hyde Clark with Upper Washington Avenue joining us now.
Hey, Zach. How you doing?
Hey, Hyde, how are you?
Sorry, I'm
And we have Cynthia Pooler.
Hi, Zach.
How are you?
I'm fascinated watching TV and what's going on in Washington.
Don't start.
Don't do that.
Hi, Dan.
No, don't even start.
Cynthia, rule one is we're not talking
Start
about
ranting
that.
and raving.
Cynthia, which neighborhood are you in?
Oh, I live on Swan Street.
At
Swan Street, which part? Over near Madison Avenue?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hudson Park, 175. She lives at. South Swan. So what's the Hudson
Okay.
Park? What would that neighborhood association be?
Hudson Park. Okay, and who else have we got on that hasn't gotten attendance taken? We have Ann Savage, school board president on. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Zach. How are you? Good to see you.
Who else have we haven't gotten attendance from? Please speak up. Make yourselves known.
I'm here.
Lan Ying.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the name again?
Lan Ying. LA.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
It's Lanying, and you're from Upper Washington Avenue. Yes, right? Breviter, right?
It's Rosemont. Is that
Rosemont. Yes, Rosemont. Yes, yep.
is that Upper?
Yes, Upper Washington. Who else is on?
Louise McNeely, Sheridan Hollow Neighborhood Association, Delaware Area Neighborhood Association.
Got that, Glenisa?
Hey, Zach. Zach.
Yes.
You forgot to mention what I do.
Yes, Cynthia does Focus on Albany, the podcast. It's a great show. We have Superintendent Kawita Adams, Albany City School District. Hi, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Zach, you got Shadar?
Really miss me.
What's that, Esther?
I just thought you might have missed me because I was just coming on when you were.
Oh, I think we may have Esther Thornton, right?
Yes, New Albany.
Albany.
Did you get Ann Savage, our president of the board?
I
Yeah,
snuck in just ahead of you. I was quick on the trigger. We were at another meeting right before this.
Who else did we have? Joanne?
Andrew
Gallagher?
Harvey.
Andrew
Hi,
Harvey?
it's Andrew.
Chador, and
Hey, Zach.
Joanna De Rosa.
Hey, Zach, I'm here too, Sridhar Chitor, from the Norman Skill Association.
Yep, we're taking attendance, so let's make sure Glenyce is keeping up here. It's her first night taking the meeting minutes. How we doing,
And esteemed
Glenyce?
school board member. Don't forget esteemed school board member.
Yes, yes. How we doing, Glenyce? So you
I
keeping
just
up?
need, Sridhar, did I say your name correctly?
Yes,
I just need
perfect.
the neighborhood you live in, please.
Norman Skill.
Thank you.
Excuse
And
me.
school board member.
Is this for the neighborhood leaders? Am I not
No,
supposed to be at the meeting?
No, it's for everybody,
Oh,
Lanyon. It's for
okay.
everybody.
Get out of it. You gotta stay.
It could be for anybody, so.
Okay.
Anybody else attend the meeting that hasn't gotten their attendance yet?
Violetta De Rosa.
Hello, Violetta here, and I'm in the 7th Ward. I'm in the Helderberg, Delaware Ave neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Gabriella, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriela Romero. I'm a candidate for the Common Council on the 6th. I just came back. Thank you.
All right, I think we got everybody.
Zach, I think we forgot Tina Lieberman.
Tina?
Hi. Yeah, Tina
Oh.
Lieberman. Hi.
Hi, Tina.
Chair of the Albany Sustainability Advisory Committee, and I live in the Eagle Point neighborhood.
You said chair of the Albany Sustainability
Advisory Committee. Some people don't even know it exists.
Hey,
Yes,
Zach.
it's a volunteer. We have 15 members, 5 are commissioners from the different departments. 5 are appointed by the mayor and 5 are appointed by the Common Council.
Awesome.
We're all volunteer, and we have 7 subcommittees that anyone can join as a member.
Thank you.
Great. Anybody else attendance?
Yeah. Hey, Deb, introduce yourself, Zamer.
Oh, boy.
Deb?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Deb Zamer. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I'm a little late. I'm a resident on Lenox Avenue. I'm interested in learning more about CANA. I'm a candidate for Common Council, 14th Ward.
Great.
Nice to see everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb, for joining us.
What neighborhood?
Chief Buckingham.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think that's it.
We're good? Okay. Well, folks, I am very proud to call this meeting officially to order tonight. I am Zach Simpson, the new chair of the Council of Albany Neighborhood Associations. Thank you for joining us tonight. What a great turnout. Thank you very much. Really appreciate everybody coming tonight. I know it's been a difficult day watching the news. But rest assured, Howie Stoller, our outgoing chair, has made the transition here very, very smooth. So I thank Howie again for making it seamless. I just want to start out the meeting tonight with some sad news. We just learned that Steve Winters, who is our long-term treasurer and CANA member, passed away a few days ago. And I know Pat Maxon knows him well. So Pat, you want to say some few words? Just unmute yourself, Pat.
I don't have a lot to say except that Steve was a wonderful,
Albany friend to me, and as one of my colleagues said, was a social work icon. He got me involved in all kinds of projects, not least of which was Cana work. He was an activist for HIV/AIDS, and I just learned through his hard work with the League of Women Voters and our colleagues there that he had passed away on New Year's Day. So I'm also hoping that if any of you hear about the formalities of memorial services, please keep me on the list to let me know any kind of tribute that's being done for Stephen, because I owe him a lot of gratitude.
Thank you very much, Pat. I appreciate it.
I'd like to mention he also was a big supporter of United Tenants Association. He was there every year for the fundraiser. He was the spark of the party. Yeah.
He'd been a board member for United Tenants for decades and started the Interfaith Partnership for the Homeless, was on Food Pantry's board, and held down the Second Avenue neighborhood. Even if the neighborhood association changed and came and went, Steve could always be counted on to know everybody in the neighborhood and know what was going on and know how to help people. And he will be deeply, deeply missed.
Andrew, would you like to say something? I think you said. You might be muted, Andrew.
Yeah. He just asked one person that he.
And I forget he was a veteran and a veterans activist too. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Exactly. Louise, it's so good to hear your tributes and the credible kudos, because I couldn't even think of all of them. So it's good to hear familiar voices and other people who know how much he's going to be missed.
Yeah, I unfortunately was the one that had to break it to people because the police called me to try to track down people in next of kin. So I've had a little more time probably than you, Max, Pat, to mourn.
Thanks. Well, Maggie Skinner and Amy Allo passed it along to me, and I will certainly pass it along to other friends. As I said, if there are formal tributes, anybody, please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louise.
Andrew, you got your hands up there.
Mute.
You're on mute, Andrew.
Okay. Hello.
There you go.
I just want to compliment everything that's been saying about everybody's saying about Steve. Here in Park South, we regularly gather up non-perishable goods to be delivered over at the Focus Food Pantry. And when I go over and make the deliveries, there was Steve to retrieve them, very regularly. He really was a grassroots kind of guy who really cared about everybody. And so his loss is a big loss to the community.
36 people.
Well, thank you for that opportunity, Zach, as it is, the world is upside down today, and now we can just carry on in Stephen's name and do some neighborhood business. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So I just wanted to welcome Superintendent of Albany City Schools, Kuita Adams, and our school board president, Ann Savage. This morning when I was getting ready for the meeting, I thought back to the last time I saw you both in person. It was late February at a ribbon cutting at the completion of phase 1 at the Albany High. And then a few weeks later, COVID hit. And I really took a moment to pause and think about the kids. So I'm really happy you came tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedules. And the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. We always appreciate the opportunity to come and share. And, we had this beautiful new building and we were just cutting the ribbon, and then COVID-19 hit and we had to go to a virtual environment, fully remote environment. And then over the summer, and we were making plans, and then we were able to come back for a period of time in person with our younger students, kindergarten through, well, pre-K through 6th grade. And then our 7-12 students have been virtual since the beginning of the school year. And this week we looked at taking just another week because we've had an increase in our COVID-19 cases that have impacted staffing, and wanted to make sure that we were able to share some of our information with you. And so this presentation today is a joint presentation. I'll start with the, as we call it, the instruction side of the house, and then I'll turn it over to President Savage to talk to you about some of our concerns moving forward, about advocacy, about equitable funding, and looking at where we are within our budget process. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Mr. Lesko is going to drive the PowerPoint. And so we are ready, Mr. Lesko.
Is that visible?
No, they're looking at a rather large K, but.
Yeah, we see your screen, but not the actual presentation.
Okay. Well, let's try again.
There we go.
There it is.
Perfect.
Okay.
Great.
So as we begin all of our presentations, we always like to start with our guiding principles, because these are the things that govern what we do. And at the core of our vision statement is the fact that we are looking to provide equitable opportunities for all of our students. And within our mission, we're looking at robust educational programs. And of course, our 5 goals are always centered on student achievement, the delivery of quality instruction, building our leadership capacity, empowering our families, and partnering with our diverse community. Tonight, we would like to just share with you a little bit about our academic overview, where we are now, our phase 2 implementation as we have been looking to bring students back in small groups and what that looks like, the instructional technology update, which is one of the things that we've been doing to close that digital divide, and then talk about our equity and culturally responsive teaching and learning, give you an update with regard to COVID-19, and then, of course, the COVID-19 fiscal impact and advocacy, because that is extremely, that's a piece that we really have to focus on as we move forward.
Emails, through phone or text.
So with our academic overview, we have virtual options at all grade levels.
If anyone who's watching wants to see more about what, like, here.
Sorry about that.
We have a virtual option for all of our students. We have in-person for pre-kindergarten, 6th through 6th grade, and then K-12 special education. One of the things that we did at the beginning of the year that was very successful, we did a phased in approach so that we could do the professional development with our staff as they learn different methods of teaching and delivering instruction in an online format. The grade level phase in so that students at different grade bands could understand the COVID protocols and procedures moving forward, and then looking at that instructional delivery model for in-person and virtual learning. The hands-on opportunities that we've been able to bring forward have to do with STEM, with that project-based learning where students have received take-home kits at different grade levels, and then they work those with the teacher on screen, but we do supply the kits that they need in order to do science experiments and things like that at the elementary level. Looking at our career and technical education program where students come in small groups. We operate, if you are familiar with HelloFresh or Martha Stewart, where you order the food and it comes ready to cook, we've been able to have those types of packets within our culinary program where Chef Valentine works both in person and in a virtual setting with our culinary students. The same thing for our barbering and cosmetology with regard to auto technology, looking at our health sciences, as well as our construction management. Fine arts, art and performing arts, we have opportunities where students can come in small groups. We have ordered the special masks so that they can continue to play their instruments. And then there's also a mask that goes over our woodwind instruments or our brass instruments to assist with making sure that we are not spreading the virus and making sure it's a different way of wearing a mask. And our students have adjusted to it, and it has really proven to be beneficial for having those types of courses that really require that performance and that hands-on piece so that they can still get that level of instruction. Technology, we've had a few challenges, but I will say that when we started back in March of 2020, when we initially made the transition to distance learning or virtual learning, we were able to ensure that we distributed computers via household because we knew at that time we did not have enough computers to go one-to-one. And so we looked at prioritizing one computer per household. And then we started to circle back with regard to how many students were in the home. And then we were able to reduce some of those numbers of sharing. And right now we have some great news. We have received, well, let me back up a little bit more. In March, we did apply for a Smart Schools grant. And in that grant, we were ordering and requesting 5,200 Chromebooks. In July of this summer, that grant was approved and we placed the order the very same day. So we have received on December 29th, the first shipment of those 5,200 computers. And so we're awaiting almost 3,900 still pending. But what that has been able to do is it has been able to help us reduce the numbers of students that are sharing computers. We've had great response from our community with regard to donations. And so we applaud all of the efforts of our community partners so that we can close that digital divide. I'll go to the next slide, please. So these are our community partners that have participated in helping us reduce that digital divide. I also want to say that one of the things that in our surveys that we were finding out was that it wasn't just having a device, it was also the connectivity. And so we partnered with T-Mobile to look at hotspots. And so we engaged with 600 hotspots last year. And this year we are participating in T-Mobile, the Project 10 Million, and we have been approved for 1,000 hotspots. And we're looking at starting with 500 more so that we can get those distributed, knowing that we have the capacity for 500 more over the next 2 years because it is a 2-year program. Equity in education is something that we have been focused on. We passed our first equity in education policy ever in this district in January of 2019. And at this juncture, we are looking at how are we measuring our progress. We have done an update with the board with regard to where do we stand in terms of equitable practices and procedures and looking at our district through an equity lens. We've added the layer of social justice within our curriculum so that we can embed those practices within our curriculum. Other pieces with regard to equity in education, we look at access to grade level standards, we look at grade level expectations and assignments, offering students, using student performance data to analyze where they are and look at the steps that we need to take to help close some of those academic gaps. Disproportionality, next slide please. Disproportionality with regard to student discipline data is something that we're looking at to ensure that consequences are assessed in a fair and equitable manner. We look at engaging our kids, the last few items there with regard to pathways to higher level courses. How do we increase diversity in our higher level courses? And the performing arts, the visual arts, as well as in our CTE certification programs. Our COVID update, to date as a district, we have 174 positive cases. That's confirmed since the beginning of the school year. The winter surge, the fall and winter surge has definitely impacted our school district because it impacts our staffing and our ability to cover classes. In October, we averaged about 0.5 daily average of positives. November, we saw an increase to about 1.4 daily average of positives. And December 1st through the 22nd, we saw a total of 52 cases, which brought us up to 2.4 as a daily average of positive cases. Over the winter holiday break, this was the largest increase that we've seen as a district, which mirrors what we're seeing in our city, in our state, and in the country. In that time frame from December 23rd to January 5th, we saw 66 total positive cases. And that gave us an average of about 4.7 as a daily average, which is evident as to why this first week we needed to go completely virtual, so that virtual remote, so that we could look at how do we come back from this and come back to school next week and get our students back back in school, at least the kindergarten, the pre-K through 6th grade, so that they can resume in-person learning. At this rate, or at this time, our buildings are still practicing all of the required COVID precautions. We are cleaning and sanitizing our spaces daily. We do continue to emphasize the wearing of masks, the hand hygiene, and of course, the social distancing of 6 feet or more. And we ask that all of our students, excuse me, all of our students and families do the same. And this is not just observing those protocols when we are at school, but when we are at home as well, and when we are going to the grocery store, ensuring that we are following those guidelines and those protocols. At this time, I will turn it over to President Savage.
So first of all, I wanted to say thank you to Zach for taking over Cana. I have been coming to Cana off and on for close to 20 years, more off than on since I've been on the school board, as I have a fair number of other evening meetings, but I really value the work that Cana is doing, and I appreciate so much all that Howie has done over the years, and couldn't imagine anybody better than Zach to take over. So thank you so much for taking that on. Really, really appreciate it. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the financial and fiscal situation that we find ourselves in. I wish it was straightforward. Everybody wants easy, simple answers, and there rarely are in levels of this complexity and these sorts of things. So most of you know that there has been all kinds of information. The only formal information that we have gotten, still to date, this is true, the only formal information that we've gotten from the Department of Budget was the state revenue projections that were released. And in those documents, they talked about withholding 20% of most local aid payments, barring fiscal, some federal action to backfill some of the state's challenges. That is, of course, a huge crisis for us because we are about 45% dependent on state aid. That is very different than our suburban colleagues who have a much smaller portion of their budget dependent on state aid. So 20% of 40% is a big chunk of your budget. That for us could be as much as $23 million, which is just an enormous sum of money. If it's only on foundation aid, which is the core part of our state aid, it's still about $16 million, which again is an enormous amount. Go ahead and move the slide forward, Ron. As many of you know, as a result, we did what is the hardest and most difficult thing any school district ever has to do, which is that we had to eliminate staff, right? And that is, it's just heart-wrenching because we know how critical the staff are to the success of our students. But we really felt that we had no other viable option under the circumstances. The biggest challenge is that part that's at the bottom of the slide. Unlike those of us who work for a living and get some sort of like a paycheck every so often, that's the same amount every so often, that's not how it works with state aid. In the school district world, your property taxes and my property taxes pay for most of the first half of the school year. We don't really get our state aid payments until March through June. We get a few smaller payments in the fall, but the big payments don't come through March till June. And in that big chunk is like 2/3 of our state aid. So if they were to take 20% of those future payments, which again, we're still only in January, that's still down the road, it would be a very, very significant problem if we had not curtailed our spending in anticipation of that. We can go ahead with the slide. Thanks. These are some things that I will draw to the particular attention of those of you who are Common Council members or would like to be a Common Council member. Running a school district fiscally is very different than running a city fiscally. It's just very different. The rules are all different. In particular, school districts are limited to a very, very, very narrow fund balance. We are only allowed to keep 4% in reserve. Cities, municipalities generally keep more like 20% in reserve. That's a big difference. We also, our fiscal year is very different. We start in July as opposed to January, which is very different in terms of its relationship to the way the state fiscal year is. We do have some reserves. We have $4.8 million. That's our roughly 4%. We committed half of that to the budget this year. So you can see that that's not sustainable, right? Even with the staff, that's our commitment, and it's simply not sustainable. There was a law passed, if anybody asks you, yes, we could borrow from some of our other reserves. We have specific reserves for specific things like for employee benefits, for example. But if we borrow from those, we still have to pay them back because those expenses are still coming at us. So that's not really a get out of jail free card. So I'll try and keep that short. Go ahead, Ron. And so in addition to having the anticipated cuts that everybody heard about in the paper of potentially as much as 20%, we've experienced some actual cash impact, which I think people think that this whole thing is hypothetical, but it's not. We are down, depending on how you count, as much as $6.35 million, okay? That is a lot of money to us. That is a big dollar amount. And that is, we've described that in a little more detail. 4.35 million comes from specific challenges that are on the table there. 1.94, so that's $2 million of state aid that we were supposed to get has not come, right? That was in the summer, they withheld several payments that was mostly for special ed, predominantly for our extended year program. We offer a summer school for our students with special needs. And we did not get the state reimbursement that we are supposed to get for that. We also did not get just now, another $300,000 was cut out of our payment that was received just this week. So these cuts are continuing. They're not 20% necessarily of the whole payment, but they're dribs and jabs to the tune of $2 million, which is real money. We also have challenges with our transportation expenses. We have expended money on transportation for distributing meals. I know everybody was very proud of the district that we ensured that every student got food, especially this past spring, when people were really afraid to come out. But those transportation expenses are likely not ever going to be reimbursed. And that's another $500,000. $700,000, which was withheld in November, we may receive. There was a grant process that we may be able to reclaim some of that. And as it says here, we've had almost $1 million in COVID related expenses. That's things like PPE, that's things like additional cleaning supplies. All of that stuff adds up to about $1 million. And in addition to all of that, there's $2 million that's just missing straight off the top, because when the governor announced his executive budget last year, we thought we would get $2 million more than we ultimately got. So things keep going more expensive, and we have $6 million less than what we thought we were going to have. I think the slides are lagging. So I know people always want to know how they can help. And one of the things that can never hurt, even though we love our state legislators, we have been very, very lucky to have John McDonald and Pat Fahey advocating for us. Most of you know Pat was the president of the school board a long time ago, so she's well aware of the challenges we're facing. So when we advocate with them, it is from a point of love, right? They have done very good things for our district, and we appreciate and thank them. But we do constantly remind them of all of the things that we still need. And the things we're advocating for mostly right now, as it says on the slide, equitable distribution of school funding. We cannot have what DOB said they were going to do at the beginning, 20% across the board. That hits our urban school districts so much harder than our suburban ones. The other thing, which I will add to this slide for the next round, we need certainty. We need the Department of Budget to tell us what they're going to commit to, because right now we do not know what is going to happen with those large March through June payments. If we knew, we could start making real sensible decisions based on knowledge. But right now it's a pure guessing game, because again, we've had no formal or informal comment or commitment about what our state aid is going to look like. And then finally, we do always have to stress the need for an equitable reduction in charter schools. If in fact there is going to be a reduction, which we all expect, that it would be equitable. Our charter students right now, our payment to charters for tuition payments is about $35 million a year. So out of our total budget, we take $35 million and we give it directly to charter schools, okay? Now they also take students, right? So some of the costs make sense because they're educating some students. But the way it truly works, our costs don't go down proportionally, right? Because we don't lose an entire building full of students. So we can close a building. We lose a few from each grade here, there, and everywhere. And so the cost, we would do better as a city if financially, if all the students were here and all the costs were here. If the charter school payment does not go down and our state aid goes down, we are going to get sandwiched. Since our payment to charter schools is $35 million, for them to have a comparable 20% pay reduction would be about $7 million. If the state doesn't do that, and we've had nothing formal on this yet, even though we've heard good things, nothing formal, we will have a terrible sandwich problem where we keep paying out the same amount to charters, but the amount coming in from state is lower. So that's where we're at. If you are interested in advocating, we have this page set up for you, albanyschools.org/advocacy, complete with sample letters. The Common Council did a advocacy letter. I think it's been signed off on by all 15 Common Council members. I don't know yet if it's a full 100%, but I know they were working on that to advocate, to support our advocacy efforts as we've just described them. So that's our fiscal situation. It's still uncertain. We hope for certainty soon. The news from the federal government is promising today obviously is not promising, but the fact that they did something was promising, but we still don't know how that's going to impact us. It's important to understand that last time that there was federal money, the state chose to reduce the state aid $1 for each dollar of federal aid that we got. So the net change to us was $0 from the federal aid. It was literally taking out of one pocket and putting into a different one. So it didn't actually give us any more dollars to spend. So I'm happy to answer questions, and I see the chat has some, but I think that's not really questions. How to funding, did I answer your charter question, Howie?
Did. Yes, you did, Ann, thank you.
Yep, they're on two totally different tracks. So I see, Violetta, Schenectady received the same $10 million that we received. That's not a change. They did make us, we received our September and October payments just like Schenectady did. I do know that they have that, that lawsuit going. I don't know much more about it than that, but we did also receive our September and October payments as they did. Superintendent Adams, do you want to talk a little bit about supports for homeless students?
So I was reading to try and see if there were any questions with regard to, we have with our homeless students, I'm trying to see where the question is. Was there a specific question?
Yeah, it says,
for homeless students?
Can you speak to what kind of support is provided for homeless students, and are there opportunities for neighbors to volunteer?
With regard to our homeless students, most of them, number one, we are of course not able to share their identities, but we can definitely put people in contact with our shelters so that we can do volunteerism and we can absolutely support them in that way. We do have a homeless education program where we make sure that the supplies are provided for the students, again, that they have the Chromebooks, that at the shelters, we would have some of the hotspots there. Some of the shelters have more than one hotspot because of the numbers of students that might be there. But absolutely, if you could reach out to my office, we could make sure that that you get the information to be able to support our homeless students.
And I just want to add on the subject of hotspots. We do have a fairly robust set of hotspots. That's not an area that we're really super tight on. So if you're aware of a family that's in need of connectivity, they should reach out to their school's principal. Now, I know there's an issue, an effort within the city to try and do something about an expanded citywide Wi-Fi, and that would be fantastic and wonderful because we pay something for most of these hotspots. They're not free. So we would love to see citywide Wi-Fi. But in terms of kids who are trying to learn today, that shouldn't be an issue. The Chromebooks also, every family should have who needs a Chromebook should have at least one Chromebook. Some families have more than one. If you hear of a family who doesn't have a single Chromebook from the district, they should reach out to their principal and they should be able to access a Chromebook. If that's not one per student, we're still not quite there, but we're getting closer and closer with that.
If I can tag on to that, President Savage, we do have a significant portion of our population where they have their own device. And so some of our families, while they may not have a district device, they have elected to use their own device, because we had a number of families when we had our survey say that in my house, we're okay, my kids have a computer, so please use that computer for another student that might need a computer. So if they are finding themselves that they are in need of a computer, have them please reach out to their principal.
And then Ford, I see you have a question about the international program, the Albany International Center and TCCE. Most of you, those of you who've been following the school issues closely probably know that we revamped those programs and really are doing them in a very different way this year because of our budget constraints. I want to talk first, I'm just going to talk about the Albany International Center just for a minute, and then I'll turn it over to the superintendent to talk about the instructional side. But as neighborhood activists, you all know how important the refugee community is to Albany, right? It's a huge part of our sense of who we are, and it's been a huge influx in population in Albany over the last several years. The whole time I've been on the school board, and I'm on like year 6 or 7 at this point, our enrollment was just going up, 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 up. We were like the only place in the entire state of New York, besides New York City, where the population was going up, the enrollment. And then of course, starting around 2.5 years ago, our enrollment started to go down for the first time since I was on the board. And you all know exactly what that was. It was a change in refugee policy at the federal level, reducing the number of students that were enrolling in the City School District of Albany. I mean, for a while, the number of ELL students was higher than the number of special education students in the City School District of Albany, which just doesn't happen. So it was very strange. So we are particularly concerned that we may be facing a very difficult fiscal situation where the state fiscal situation is really challenged, right? None of us expect state aid to be going up anytime in the next couple of years, right? We're all facing this really difficult recession. We all know that the property taxes in Albany are already high, and the school district has really made an effort over the last 6 or 7 years to really keep the lid on property taxes. I mean, we haven't had a property tax increase more than 2%. We've had several zeros and several ones. We know our community can't handle an increase in property taxes. We know we're not going to have taxes coming in from the state, but we anticipate that the refugee population is going to start climbing again because we anticipate that the federal government is going to change their policies. So we're going to go back to having more and more refugee students without the increasing fiscal situation, which we had during the period I've been on the board. We've had increasing state aid, and that allowed us to run the Albany International Center, which if we have enough students to justify it, I know we want to do it in the same way that we were doing it before. It will depend on students and on money. And I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent to talk a little bit more about TCCE and AIS and what we're doing, or AIC and what we're doing with them right now.
So both of the programs that we have, the Albany International Center and Tony Clement Center for Education, we have used the model of a program within a program because we knew that those services could not be disbanded. We needed to make sure that we were still providing for those students. And so what we've done is we have put Albany High School houses the Albany International Program. So while the staff has been reduced and the program has been revamped, what we've done is we've made it a school within a school model. So the students operate in a cohort. So they are still with each other, but it is a cohort model at the high school level. With regard to Tony Clement, we have merged that program over at O'Neill Middle School. And so that staffing piece, those staff members that we were able to maintain are at Edmund O'Neill, and that program runs virtually, but also if it's 6th grade or 7th or 8th grade, 7th through 12th grade is virtual, but the 6th graders are in person. We provide those services to our students within the program at O'Neill. And so the wraparound services, the community partnerships that we work with, looking at all the services that they may need, if it's behavioral, mental health care, whatever the case may be, those services are still provided to those students, just in a different format.
Does anybody else have other questions? I know we've taken a fair bit of your time already, and I'm sure you have other business, but we're happy to answer. We're here.
And I can even further extend with regard to the international program or TCCE. Are they going to be permanent? When we rebuild, we're going to have to look at how we strategically rebuild. And I say that often because we don't know what that funding structure is going to look like. We don't know how we're going to have to think differently about delivering those services, but we are not looking to get rid of those programs. We know how valuable they are. We just have to keep thinking about how do we deliver those services for those students, because we know that it is so valuable and we have to do that. And so it may be a revamping, but we are absolutely looking to maintain and determine a way that we can sustain those programs. So there's another question. The state still owes New York schools $48 billion from the 2008 fiscal crisis. It's critical that the community advocates for voice for equity. And of course, we would absolutely champion that. Make calls, write letters. Alliance for Quality. Alliance is a great resource for advocacy. Also attend rallies and protests. That is a comment that is in the chat, just helping us with that equity and that equitable funding for education, because it is absolutely critical.
And you'll see, I just put the link to our advocacy page, which, you know, it's interesting. We work closely. We know the Alliance for Quality Education folks very well. Some of them are parents in our school district, and we share information and conversation with them frequently. Everybody's got a part in this dance, right? The school district, we have a way of advocating for things that's our way, that we believe is the most effective from a school district perspective. And the letters look a little different, but I think they're all speaking to the same need, which is public schools were already underfunded, especially urban public schools. We're already underfunded, right? What we're facing now with the threatened cuts and the real cuts, and who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of years if there is in fact a significant recession, is going to impact our urban public schools really dramatically. And so we appreciate the advocacy from everyone.
Does anybody else have questions for Superintendent Adams or President Savage?
I just also wanted to add that in our board docs, which is our repository where you can get all the meeting information, we have information on our legislative priorities that we have discussed with the senators and the assemblymen. There are lots of different issues, and there's lots of information regarding to each of those issues. So when you do your advocacy, if you can take a look at those documents, things like, what is the tax rate in Albany versus, how does that relate to the foundation aid that we get? We don't even get the same proportional foundation aid that Syracuse or Troy or Utica gets. And so there are lots of these comparisons that we have in those documents. I can try and see if I can send the link to that particular legislative priorities, because I think that'd be useful. The other thing is the pre-K program. We were the first adopters of the pre-K program, so we got given a certain amount of money per student. The people who came after us get more money for doing the same program. And so it's like we get the districts like ours, which have the most needs, get the least amount of money for doing those things. So
that is all true and absolute inequity. The districts that have the poorest students were the earliest adopters of pre-K and get the least amount per student. So, that is, when you hear us in New York State talking about equity, that is a point to challenge them on. So I do not know the answer. Glenissa, did I say your name right? Glenissa? We don't know.
Longy.
Say it again.
Glenissa, Longy.
Glenissa. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
No problem.
You asked, will the governor's executive order delay with the governor's executive order and delay in taxes, do we forecast a negative impact on revenue? And this is all tied together, really. And we don't know. This is why we need certainty. We know that we're supposed to get 66% of our state aid between March and June. We know that the Department of Budget has said that they may reduce that by as much as 20%. We know they have reduced certain programs by 20% already because we've felt that. We've gotten 20% less in our paycheck than we were supposed to get. That's what we know. What will happen in March, April, May, and June in terms of what our revenue will look like, we really do not know. And that is why we are trying to be extremely thoughtful and strategic about how we bring people back to school and bring staff back as we possibly can. Sadly, there is no printing press in the basement of Academy Park. So if we bring staff back and then we have a reduction in our state aid that we are not anticipating, we will not have enough money to pay people. There's no backup giant huge reserve there because we're only allowed to keep 4% of reserves. So it's really, if this were my own personal household, I would feel quite uncomfortable about the limited amount of reserves we're allowed to keep. I'm a very cautious person fiscally, and I like to know that I've got enough money in the bank to handle almost any emergency that can come my way. And that is not the way school districts are allowed to prepare financially based on the law.
Whoops, I think I hit the wrong thing. Okay, here we are. All right, anybody else got questions? Everybody good? Okay, well, thank you very much, Superintendent Adams and President Savage, for coming tonight. We really appreciate it.
Have a good night, you guys. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before we move on to our next presenter, which is Bob Baker with the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York, I just wanted Glenissa, we have some more folks that joined us during the presentation. If you're ready to take down some additional folks.
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. We have Arlene Way with Arbor Hill Development Corporation. We have Howie Stoller, former chair of Kane.
I had a puppy just jump on me.
Arlene Way, Arbor Hill Development Corporation.
Yep. Who's next?
We have Howie Stoller, former Kane chair. Melrose.
Got it.
Bernice Aviza, Aviza, Upper Washington. We have Christine Flores. Christine, refresh my memory if she's still. I think she's still on.
I am.
Which name?
Yeah, hi. Thank
Which
you.
name?
So hi everybody. I am over on Willard Street, over by Washington Park. This is my first time participating. Camera's not working on the phone. It's on my computer, so that's why I don't have a picture up.
You're on Willett Street on the park. So is that Washington Park neighborhood?
Yeah, Washington Park. I'm kind of lurking tonight. And Happy New Year. And thank you everybody for participating.
Happy New Year to you too. Robert Murphy, Whitehall.
Hello.
How are you, Robert? Good to see you.
I'm here. Good. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. We have Colin McKnight, Mansion. Yeah, and Bob Baker with the Regional Food Bank. Did I miss anybody that came into the meeting?
Zach, there's somebody that's on the phone. I don't know who they are.
I think it's Bob Baker. And if it is, I think you have to hit *6 to unmute yourself. All right, Hillary, good to see you, Hillary. Hillary actually connected me with Bob Baker. Hillary's with the Helderberg Neighborhood Association, and Bob Baker is here to talk about the supported community agriculture program. Did I get it right? I got it right?
Yeah, community supported agriculture, CSA. Yep. And
right,
I know, Bob, we have you on the line. Are you able to, let's make sure your sound is working. I think, Bob, you got to unmute yourself, actually.
He has to hit *6 if he's on a phone, right?
Yeah, I think he was able to get in through his cell phone as well. There we go.
Unmuted, it says.
We got you. We hear you now.
Hi, Bob. Thank you
Okay,
for joining
great.
us. Go ahead. You
No,
have the floor.
thanks. Okay, thank you for having me. I appreciate this time very much. And thank Hillary too for letting me know and giving me the opportunity also. So what I wanted to discuss tonight was our community supported agriculture program. And it's something that we already do, but with the current COVID environment, we're going to try it in a new way this year, from site delivery to home delivery. And that'll be something very new for us. Previously, we delivered our shares on a weekly basis to larger sites like Albany Med.
Bob, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
Do you have another device on your end? There's a major echo on your end.
I'm sorry.
I think if you called in through your cell phone, you can probably hang up the landline. I think probably just the cell phone will work.
That's fine, Bob. Just get rid
Call
of
in from the cell phone?
Looks like you're in the meeting twice. Did you call in from your cell phone and your landline? Or did you just call in once?
I just called on my landline.
Okay.
Let me see if I unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you hear
Yep.
me now?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes, Bob, much better. Go ahead.
Okay, good. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm getting my computer actually Friday with a microphone and a camera. So we're moving up in the world. But anyway, the Patroon Land Farm was started in about 2006. We are part of the Regional Food Bank. And our mission is to grow food to feed the hungry. And so the farm was started by a lady by the name of Pauline Williman. She put her dairy farm into an agricultural trust and brought the food bank into it, and we became managers of the farm. And this year, the food bank has really been extended beyond what we normally do. We cover 23 counties. We service over 1,000 food pantries in those counties, and we normally put out about 40 million pounds of food. This year we'll exceed that by about 30%. And so the farm is an integral part in the food bank and feeding the hungry, in that we bring into the food bank about 50 tons or 100,000 pounds of vegetables each year to go out to feed the people in our community. So Hillary, do you want to put up the slides? So that first slide there is just showing you our greenhouse, tractor, some of our raised beds where we would plant our food. Okay.
Can everybody see
Okay.
the screen? Everybody's okay with the screen?
Yep, just some of our volunteers that are out at the farm. Volunteers are a big part of our farm. Without them, they probably provide about over 50% of the labor out at our farm each year. Okay. Again, this is one of our barns where we do our packing. Okay. Just some of the vegetables that we would supply in our shares. That's a fruit share. We also offer a fruit share through Altamont Orchards, just some more of the fruit that would be offered in a fruit share. This is a winter share that we put together we offer it in December and January and February and November. So it's a fruit, vegetables in that and fruit too. Again, just showing some of the part of the farm and also the fact that much of our vegetables go into food pantries to be handed out to individuals. Yep. Again, that's just one of our farmers, and part of the farm is we have a lot of students from elementary through college also come up and receive education about the farm, but also are there to help us. Okay, so the other part I wanted to share with you, and I'm going to wrap it up very shortly, but what we have that's very nice for people is that we offer a variety of vegetables, and that could be anywhere from all your normal things like broccoli and celery and tomatoes and corn and kale and lettuce. So you name it, we probably grow it or source it from another farm. And the nice part is that you have choice. A lot of the CSA shares that are offered, you receive what you get in the box and that's it. But what we do is on Friday afternoon, we send out an email and let you know, usually about 14 vegetables will be available, and you have the ability to select those, to select what you want for your share that week. Why we offer the CSA share is to support the farm. We have to have a way to pay for the farm. We're non-for-profit. And again, as I shared with you earlier, most of our vegetables come into the food bank here and are distributed then to people through our food pantries who are in need. So you might say, well, how much does it cost, Bob? And the shares can go from about $300 for the season, which is 15 weeks up. And you get about 8 to 12 pounds of food, vegetables or fruit in your box. And depending on that weight, it goes anywhere from $1.60 to about $2 a pound. The vegetables are organic, and again, it would be home delivery. So every Thursday, once the season starts, and we start in the end of June and run through September, mid-October, every Thursday you would have a box of vegetables delivered to your house. And it's a cardboard box, it's insulated, it has ice packs in it, and they're good for 6 to 8 hours once it's delivered. So what we'd like to do, one, we're sharing the idea with you very early in the season, but what we thought that would be a good thing would be to later on, maybe in March or so, we would send out some flyers and do a survey maybe in your neighborhood organizations of people that might be interested. And then come June, we would actually pick some of your members in your neighborhoods and send out maybe 2 weeks of a share to them at no cost, and let them try it and see how they like it. And then they could report back to your other members in your associations. So I think that's about it. Hillary, what would you add?
Yeah, so hi everyone. I know some of you, Hillary here with the Helderberg Neighborhood Association, and I've been a member of the CSA program for about the past 5 years. So if you haven't heard of a CSA program, it's basically a really great way to get fresh local vegetables. For those of you who are familiar with CSA programs, the food banks is really unique being a nonprofit, and the mission really drives it. I mean, 2/3 of the vegetables going to food banks, so they're not, those folks are not just getting canned food, but fresh, local, organic produce is huge. So for myself and many of my fellow members, the mission is really what draws us to this. And I know Bob has shared previously, 40% of the people the food bank feeds are children. So knowing that our children in our communities are getting fresh, local, organic produce is huge, and that we're supporting that program. Again, I think there's a large movement towards local produce. The farm is up in Altamont. It's beautiful. I volunteer there when I can. That's a huge draw. It's an economical way to get fresh, beautiful produce for your family. I give a lot of it away. I trade. It's a fun way to experiment with new recipes. Bob does a great job of sharing recipes with your share every week. The flexibility is really nice. I personally like getting surprised if there's something I haven't tried before. It's fun for me, but I know some people don't like beets, so they can swap it out for something else. So I know that's very appealing to people. There are other perks to the CSA program through the food bank as well. So in different Saturdays throughout the summer, the program offers a pick your own. So you can bring friends and family to the farm, and you can go out and actually pick produce that it might be too labor intensive to put in your shares, like fresh herbs or baby tomatoes, or even just fresh flowers that are grown on the farm. So that's a really great way to bring your family and friends out to the farm and get them thinking about these, hunger issues and local agriculture. And ultimately, it's a really wonderful way to build community. So that's why I do it. I'm a site coordinator as well for my office. So for the past 5 years, every Thursday, I got my vegetables brought to my office. That was incredibly convenient. My office has participated for the past 9 years. But with this home delivery, I think it'll make it even more accessible to people in terms of just logistics. So I think there's a lot of exciting movement forward. Bob and his team are very visionary and proactive with the program and making it meet people's needs. So I would encourage everyone to kind of stay tuned for the survey, the flyer that's coming out. I personally would be more than happy to help connect people who are interested, learn more, and share any questions you may have offline. So thank you.
Well, definitely when the survey's ready, I'll send it out to everybody.
Okay, well, thank you again for this opportunity. It's really very kind of you. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I lost audio for a second, I think. Sorry about that. Any questions for Bob or Hillary? There was a couple in the chat, I think. Did the chat questions get addressed?
So Bob, we have a couple of questions. One of them has to do with organic.
Okay.
If you want to touch on that, I know there's a certain.
Okay, so yeah, so we're not certified organic, right? Some farms are certified organic. They go through a process to get certified. But again, we being a non-for-profit, it's not a way that we would want to spend our money. So all of our practices are organic. So that would mean for the anything that we'd use, like a pesticide would be a soap. It's just a soap, right? That you don't like tasting soaps, and the insects don't like tasting soaps. And the same thing would be for, like, our fertilizer would be some type of manure or some type of leaf mulch. So yeah, any fertilizer or pesticide would be organic.
And then somebody asked a question about where the farm is located. So it's in Altamont. It's right by Thompson Lake, right, Bob? Right, kind of near Thatcher Park.
Yeah, near Thatcher Park, correct.
Yeah, and then we had a question about the size of the share, how big it is. And I think, Bob, there are 2 different sizes.
Yeah, so there's a individual share, we call it, that feeds 1 or 2 people, and that would be about 8 to 12 pounds of produce, depending on what it is. Obviously, lettuce weighs less than cabbage, and so that would run about $270 for the 15 weeks. And then there's a family share would feed 4 to 5, and that runs for the 15 weeks, $420 for the whole season. You don't have to pay that all at once. You can put a little bit down and then you can pay on a weekly basis.
And even some people will split a single share or split a family share. If you have a neighbor who
Correct.
wanted to split, that's another option a lot of people take advantage of.
Right.
I just have a quick question. I'm sorry if can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm sorry if I missed this. I'm juggling some family stuff. But when did you say the sign up was? I love CSA and CSAs
Yep.
and I want to support this.
So-
I always shared it with my mother. So if it's too much, it's like a great thing.
Right.
But,
Right.
When is the sign up?
So we'll probably start in March with sign up. We'll probably start in March and then we go right up to, people can even sign up during the season because we will prorate their shares. Yep. Okay, thank you. Yep, you're welcome.
I'm excited to sign up for this.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it for questions. So Zach, I think we're all set.
Thank you again. Thank you for
very
your
much,
time,
Bob.
everybody.
Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate your
Thank
time,
you.
sir.
Bye-bye now.
Let's see, what's next on the agenda here? John O'Grady, you want to give a codes committee?
Yeah, that repeats on the agenda, no matter whether I have anything to say or not. But I can say that tomorrow we're going to resume for the first time since the pandemic our meetings with Rick LaJoy, and that's going to be via Google Meet.
Can you say that one more time? I'm so sorry. I had a puppy going off in the background. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. The Cana Codes Committee will have its first meeting since the pandemic started, which will be via Google Meet. Our first meeting with Rick LaJoy, who is head of the Codes Department, but it's not the Codes Department. I keep forgetting the name. BRC, what is that?
Regulatory compliance.
Building and regulatory compliance.
Yeah, that's the name of the city department that takes care of code enforcement.
And so
when will that meeting happen?
Tomorrow at 9:30, I think.
And that was via Google Meet, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you'd have to get a link. There are representatives from each of the neighborhood associations who want to send one, and so they will get the link. If you're on a neighborhood association, which, as far as you know, is not sending a representative, shoot me an email or a text. That's okay. Email, I guess.
John, what's your email so people know?
That's John Helen OK. That's spelled JOHNHELENOK at netzero.com. Zero spelled out.
Okay, and I also just wanted to recognize Glenisa Gayard. She is our new recorder of the meeting minutes. So thank you very much, Glenisa. Do you want to just introduce yourself to the group?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good new year so far, sans what's happening down in Washington right now. I'm Glenisa Gaylord. I am a lifelong resident of Albany. I grew up in South End. I currently live in Arbor Hill. I am an attorney with my own firm, and I'm happy to be here and be more involved in Cana and what's happening in our neighborhood.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Just so you know, Cana has a history of meeting minutes from 1976 till today, so it's very important to preserve the history of this organization. I just want to remind neighborhood association leaders that Cana's dues are due for this year, 2021. We did have a few neighborhoods pay already, which is great. Thank you very much, everybody. It is $25 per neighborhood, $10. You can do an individual membership as well, $10. And the forms to fill out are on our Google group. So if you go to google.com and Google Cana Albany, it takes you right to our Google website. And then there's the forms And you can send it right to my address. My name and address are on the forms. Okay. Let's see what else is going on. All right, so upcoming meetings in February. Our next meeting is going to be February the 3rd. We are going to be focusing on African American History Month. I've invited representatives of Rap Road Historical Association, as well as representatives from the African American Cultural Center of the Capital Region. So they'll be coming to present in February. March, we're going to be doing a conversation on COVID 1 year later. I've invited some local officials and community leaders to come and talk about just, some of what happened this last year, since last March when the shutdown happened. And then April, I think we have Tina Lieberman. Is she still on the phone here? She's going to be coming to present. Is Tina still on?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi.
She's going to come. Do you want to give a little overview? We talked about a couple of things you were going to focus on, I think, the mulching and.
Yeah, I think you might you wanted me to talk about if there are any neighborhood cleanups, but I think what we're focusing on in Albany, we have a grant from the DEC that we had written a grant and we're awarded a $225,000 grant. It's a 3-year grant to reduce food waste in the city, increase the rescue of edible food, and also to do a composting outreach and education program. So we're going to be focusing on backyard composting, as well as we have established 3 neighborhood compost drop-off sites that you can use for free. And those are at Radix and at the Tivoli Preserve and also at Albany Victory Gardens. And they're listed on Zero Waste Capital District website right now. We are getting an Albany compost website together too. And then we also have paid pickup services in Albany, and they're also listed on Zero Waste Capital District's website. We'll talk more about that.
Great. And I did hear back from Scott Kellogg from Radix, and he is going to be there that evening as well to talk. So it's good. It'll be a good night. Let's see. Now there are some upcoming neighborhood association meetings. I know we have the Beverwick coming up next Tuesday night. We have, oh, bless you. There's a joint Upper Washington and Melrose meeting tomorrow night. Let's see what else is going on. I think Helderberg is meeting on the 13th, if I'm not correct. Mayor Sheehan is going to be there.
Yep, next week, 7 o'clock with Mayor Sheehan.
Okay, and then, the 21st, Uptown Neighborhood Cooperative is meeting. Scott Jesronbeck, the executive director of the Albany Public Library, wanted to come and talk to the group about the status of the library during COVID right now. So, let's see. Am I missing anything, Howie?
Zach, if I could
Go ahead,
say,
Tina.
if anyone would like to, we have the Albany Sustainability Advisory Committee tomorrow, and if you go to the Sustainable Albany Facebook page, you can join there. And the first 40 minutes or so will be a presentation about all of the subsidies for energy efficiency, like the home energy audits and all the subsidies for retrofitting, insulating your home for energy efficiency that are available from NYSERDA. And there are also some great subsidies for electrification, which means getting air source heat pumps, ground source heat pumps, and heat pump water heaters for your home when the next time one of those fails for you or you need to replace them. We're trying to move toward electrification to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So you can learn from Kathleen Langton from the Affordable Housing Partnership. She'll tell you all about those programs. Or if you're interested, pop in for the first 30, 40 minutes or so.
What time is that meeting going to be?
Oh yeah, thank you. It starts at 6 p.m. And again, it's go to the Sustainable Albany Facebook page. It'll be live streamed there.
Did you put the info in the chat?
Sure, great idea.
You.
So, so Zach, you had raised I think you covered everything, but you talked about those other neighborhood association meetings.
Yes.
They're all going to be virtual, right?
Correct.
So it would be good, you know, if those neighborhoods felt comfortable sharing those links. We could sit. So, for example, to see the mayor at Helderberg might be interesting for others.
So I was thinking about going forward, making like kind of a table and dropping it into the body of an email with the actual meeting codes and the names of the neighborhood associations for quick reference, maybe with the link.
That sounds good.
Okay. Consider it done. Sounds like a good idea to me. Does anybody else have any new business to discuss? All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. It was I think a very good first meeting as the new chair.
Good job.
I really, I just want to say I'm looking forward to these next 2 years as your leader. And I promise to lead us into better days ahead. I promise we will be. We'll get there. So
Thanks, Zach. We'll get there.
Thank you so much.
thanks, everybody.
you.
Stay safe. We'll see you in February, okay?
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Zach,
Wonderful
and
night.
everybody.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.